ground on you,
One's
one's in
underground,
jet.
you.
One's on the ground on you, one's in jet, one's urgent. Inside our jet, inside our jet.
I got stuck and I'm dead.
Yeah, go for it, go for it, go for it, go for it, go for
Hand
it.
it over. Raymond.
That's our flag. That's our fucking trophy, boys.
Fucking our trophy.
Alrighty, what is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 14 of COD Talks. I am your host, Furs95. Lots to get to today. This has been a drama-filled week. A whole lot of drama going on this week. But before we get into all the Optic-related drama news, I am going to touch on a few pieces of news related to competitive COD that I wanted to touch real quick. The first being that Treyarch has hinted that the Pick 10 system will be back in Black Ops 4 with a tweet. So I think that the tweet's basically, someone made a image and then Treyarch replied and said, we give this post a 10 out of 10. So I think that this all but confirms Pick 10 will be back in some capacity in Black Ops 4. Treyarch is kind of known for doing like playful cryptic tweets like this. So I think that this all but confirms Pick 10 is back in Black Ops 4, which is definitely a positive. I think that that's one of the biggest issues, I would say, probably with World War II, both in terms of competitive and casual. I think that the division system has largely been a failure. Their whole, I know with the recent update, it really changed the whole system. But initially, I think that it's very restrictive. It doesn't allow much customization. And I think the Pick 10 ultimately is the best way to do it. I will say, though, I think that the Pick 10 is not perfect. I think if you look back at Black Ops 2, there definitely were certain crutch perks and crutch attachments and so on and so forth. But, again, in the end, I think in a COD game, you're always going to have certain guns, attachments, perks that are going to be a crutch in some way or another. And I think that there's just no real way to avoid it completely. And so I think that that's why the Pick 10 is, in the end, the best system to do it, just because, again, you're never going to have a perfect system. But Pick 10, in my opinion, as long as you balance the perks correctly and you offer counters to everything, you really can find a pretty good medium with the Pick 10 as well, and then obviously allow for a lot of customization. So good stuff from Treyarch. I'm very excited for Black Ops 4. I know the reveal is in, I believe it's like 20 days or so. I think it's in like mid to late May. I remember the exact date, but it's coming up. So I'm very excited for the reveal and to see what Treyarch has in store. The next piece of news I wanted to touch on real quick is that Sledgehammer posted their weekly community update. I think it was actually a separate post on Reddit that there was a post on the World War II subreddit that had a long list of problems that are still in World War II. And Sledgehammer came out, I believe it was yesterday on Friday, or maybe on Thursday, that they came out and made their own post and basically addressed every single issue in that list. And one of the issues that they addressed was aim assist. So aim assist has been a big problem in this game, and I know a lot of the pros have complained about it. I definitely feel it playing the game as well. I'm sure most of you guys do too. There's definitely some aim assist inconsistency in this game, and Sledgehammer has confirmed that they are looking into it, which is a good thing, obviously. Better late than never. I hope that it does get attention in some capacity, because it definitely is a problem in this game. And that's really all I have to say about that. So moving on, I also wanted to touch on the introduction of the ITRA Burst into competitive. So as most of you guys know, Sledgehammer came out with a 4-burst gun. They released it, and then I believe it was Rambo tweeted out that it was going to be available in all competitive modes. So it's available in ranked play, it's available in, I believe, game battles, all esports modes. So it's been a hot topic of discussion this week. And, my personal feelings, I know some people feel that it's OP, some people don't. Some people definitely want to see it in competitive. Some people want to see a gentleman's agreement. So my feelings overall about the gun is that I do think it is slightly overpowered. I think that a statistic I saw that was very telling is that, I believe it was Drifter that came out with it. He compared it with the Black Ops 2 M8. And both guns are obviously very similar. They fire 4 bullets for every burst. And the only key difference between the two guns is that the ITRA Burst has a pretty significantly higher fire rate. And that ultimately, I think, is what's causing the gun to be so OP. So I think that if it just needs it needs a slight, or maybe not slight, but it definitely needs a fire rate nerf. But I think that's all it really needs. I mean, I think that the recoil is fine. It doesn't have much recoil, which is ultimately what it should be, right? I mean, it's an AR. That's a whole point of a long range burst style AR is to have really good aim. And ultimately, I think that if the fire rate is nerfed, I think that is when the gun really should find a spot in competitive. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I think it's another aspect to the meta. I know the pros are frustrated probably because they're tired of the meta changing from event to event, which is very understandable. I can completely understand that. But ultimately, I don't think this would really change the meta all that much. Obviously, it's a new gun for ARs to get used to, but ultimately, I think it is a good thing because it does diversify the meta a little bit, and I don't think it really affects how the game will be played all that much. But maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. We'll have to just wait and see if Sledgehammer is able to patch it, and then find out if it ultimately makes it into competitive. So we'll have to wait and see on that gun. And without further ado, guys, now I'm going to get into all of the latest Optic news, the COD burner account, all this stuff that's been going on this past week or so. So I'm going to be honest, guys. The last episode, I predicted that Optic was not going to break up. I completely changed my opinion. They are no doubt in my mind breaking up at this point. The only possible way they don't is if Karma is playing the most insane troll of all time. This is the only way. I mean, all we've gotten from Karma and from Scump and Krim, and I know Formal's been pretty quiet, but they really all have for the most part, except for Damon. But it doesn't look good. It does not look good. I think this roster is all but done. I mean, it's based off of Karma's tweets. He just seems very unhappy. I have one pulled up here that he tweeted earlier on in the week. He said, "Ha, spent all day wondering if anyone will grow a pair of fucking balls and tell me what is happening." That's not good. That's not good for multiple reasons. First of all, that's not good that he's getting no communication. He's getting left in the dark. That's ridiculous, to be honest. That's just downright disrespectful from his teammates, from the owners, from Infinite, from Hex. I mean, this guy, he's helped Optic through so much. I mean, the amount of success that this roster and that Karma has played a part in is unparalleled. I mean, this is the most successful roster of all time, and this is how you're going to treat a member of that roster. Like, it's just pathetic. And again, all this is speculation because we haven't heard anyone's perspective, right? No one's been able to talk. Damon also tweeted that, he isn't able to say anything right now because higher ups are keeping him quiet. Krim did not hint at hardly anything on when he was on the CODcast this week. Seth has been very quiet on Twitter with regards to the situation. Formal has been completely quiet. So I don't want to make any really definitive statements or opinions just quite yet because, again, it's all speculation and we just don't know what's going on. So, but again, I do also want to touch on that. Another telling thing is the fact that Hitch, folks, you guys know who Hitch is, the guy who helps create Vision, the Optic series that gets to kind of look into all the Optic teams. And Hitch tweeted out, I believe, that this next episode of Vision is without a doubt going to be the most viewed of all time. And I'm sure he's right, which is another sign that they're probably breaking up, which again is what's so, I guess, surprising and just disappointing to me is how this is going down, right? I mean, we all know that this roster wasn't going to last forever. But I was pretty convinced that the only way this roster doesn't last is that one of them retires or one of them willingly leaves. You know what I mean? I never thought it would end this way, and it's just disappointing. It's disappointing as a fan to watch. I mean, I just there's no other way to put it. I cannot believe if the rumors are true about Seth, about Scump, and how he basically wasn't practicing because he no longer wanted to play with Karma. That is pathetically that's disgusting behavior. That's pathetic. And again, I want to say that last episode, I want to reinforce this. Scump is my favorite player. He's my favorite personality. He's my favorite. I mean, through and through. Ever since I started watching the Black Ops 1, Scump has been my guy. But if this behavior that is rumored, if it's true, I just don't have any words, and I really don't know if I can support him anymore because that is just childish. It's childish, and it just makes you wonder. I mean, if Attach doesn't get that 1v3 at stage 1 playoffs, do they stick together? If Replays doesn't get that 1v3, do they stick together? I mean, what? It's just so. Again, I just want to know how long this has been going on. How long has Scump supposedly not wanted to play with Karma? How long have there been internal issues? I just don't. It seems like a cop out for Scump to just get up and say, I'm not playing with Damon anymore. I don't want to play with him anymore. Again, I don't. The whole situation is just a shit show, to be honest, and it's just really disappointing to see them go out like this. And ultimately, I think that again, I know that I also want to touch on the COD burner account. So obviously, most of you guys know there was a account on Reddit called, I think it was like COD Burner 2018, and he's made 2 posts so far of just this huge long essay about all sorts of rumored speculation about who's going where. There's rumors that Optic as a whole may not even have a COD roster, that Crim and Scump are looking for there's this new org that they're going to go to, and there's just all this stuff that I don't want to really get into too much because both Nameless and Parasite have both come out and said that this account basically is incredible completely. I mean, they come out and said, look, this account is not entirely truthful 100%. And at first, a lot of people were speculating that the account was a pro because there was so much detail and information going around that's only a pro or someone really, really close to the team would know. So, but again, I'm not going to get too into the account because of the fact that Nameless and Parasite came out and discredited. But ultimately, I mean, again, I don't want to speculate too much about this because, again, we don't have anything confirmed. We don't know what's going on. Crim was on, like I mentioned earlier, the CODcast this week, Nameless's CODcast, and he really didn't have too much to say. Obviously, he was, just can't say anything. There was a lot of speculation between the other guys about who Optic's going to pick up and this and that. But I mean, again, I hate speculating about things until they're confirmed. And, the only real kind of telling thing that Crim said, that I do want to point out is that I think at one point he basically said that whoever Karma goes to is going to get better. And then he added on if he leaves. So it's okay, well, that was a little telling. That's just another indicator that this team is probably breaking up. So the only thing that is all but confirmed, that is pretty much a guarantee at this point, is that this Optic roster is not sticking together. That's the only thing that we really, truly all but know at this point. Just because, again, all of these indicators that I've gone over, and again, it's just disappointing. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it, but it is not the way that I believe this team should be going out. I think it's incredibly childish, and we just have to wait and see. Ultimately, who says what. I want to hear all perspectives on the issue. What was done to handle it, what was done not to handle it. I mean, it's just, there's so many things that we don't know that I don't have a whole lot to say until we know. So with that said, guys, I think I am going to wrap up today's episode. I didn't have a whole lot to say. I'm sorry about that. I don't want to go into all this speculation without having anything confirmed because it's just pointless to me. It's pointless to talk about stuff that may not be true at all and then just waste your all's time with that. So with that said, guys, be sure to follow me on Twitter, like, share, subscribe to this episode if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to me on YouTube. Leave us a review on iTunes. Leave us a rating. Really helps us out with exposure. Lets me know what you guys want to hear from me. With that said, guys, that's going to do it. And I will see you guys next week.